Change is inevitable from generation to generation in many facets of life. This includes how romance and dating begin. New media has afforded potential couples more and more opportunities over time. According to Psychology Today, the more information we disclose during the building of relationships, the more budding partners start to trust and become attracted to each other. Vulnerability equates to a sense of trustworthiness and attractiveness. Despite several differences, communication theories stand the test of time when it comes to dating. When beginning the disclosure process, individuals use more of an interrogative procedure to figure out whether or not the potential for a relationship is really there and viable. This is all according to the Western Journal of Speech Communication. This sort of disclosure can determine how a couple will respond to their first big fight. When more disclosure has occurred, the odds are better that a couple will sustain the relationship and survive the fight, according to a 2008 study conducted by Human Communication. New terms have popped up with the explosion of social media and its relationship with, well, relationships. Terms like ghosting, the act of discontinuing electronic communication at any time on someone, or talking, a term that describes the art of communicating during the initial stages of dating, have become incredibly popular among the contemporary generation of those who are dating. So how exactly has social media impacted the incipient stages of dating? We need to look no further than Facebook. A study published in Psychology, Behavior, and Social Networking in 2015 detailed Facebook's impact on disclosure, relationship satisfaction, and even how PDA is changed. The study determined that, quote, romantic relationships do not exist in isolation. Rather, they are affected by the social context in which they are embedded. In recent years, Facebook has changed this social context by, among others, allowing couples to make public claims about their relationship. Thus, how people react to couples taking pictures, sharing communication in a public forum, and even becoming Facebook official has a great deal of influence on relationships. Still, Facebook isn't always the leader when it comes to initial communication between potential partners. Snapchat has quickly risen to the top of the social media food chain among the nation's youth. Here we have an example of a contemporary college student describing their experience entering and forming a relationship with her now boyfriend, and how social media, including Snapchat, and disclosure mixed.
We text a lot. That's our best way to communicate, or Snapchat. It just kind of, so I do get to see his face a little bit. We'll send funny Snapchats to each other, or we'll text a lot. That's our main way of communicating. Very rarely he's an idiot and doesn't like to talk on the phone, so very rarely do we ever talk on the phone, so it's mainly texting or Snapchat. Snapchat, he actually asked me on our first date over Snapchat. I kid you not. Everyone always makes fun of us for that. He was like, he did that? I'm like, yeah, that would be him. He asked me out on our first date over Snapchat, and then from there, we started texting more, and then it was really a lot of balancing Snapchat and texting. So still what we do now basically, but then we do call a very minimal amount more than beforehand.
Older generations have noticed how contemporary dating practices have impacted not only relationships, but how people talk to each other in general. Robert Morris University's Scott Erlbacher had comments of his own on the development of media in relation to its impact on youth dating and communication.
Well, you had to talk to people. And when I went to college, people didn't have cell phones, so that's probably the most critical difference between when I was in school and now, that very few students ever had cell phones, and so you actually had to talk to people. So you had to make small talk, find a way to get it, an introduction, or really. I think the interpersonal dynamics have changed a lot too. Our society has grown more into the hookup culture, and so students have a couple of different encounters. There's all the formalities are gone. The chase, the flirting, the dating, those sort of things. I think it's pretty traditional now. If you still go through that old-fashioned routine of meeting someone, asking them to go on a date, and then eventually having some sort of mutually agreed upon commitment to one another of being boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever you call call it. So.
After taking an in-depth look using credible sources, interviews, and other materials found all over the internet and in text, it is easy to see that dating practices have been changed greatly by the evolution of new media. New media has trickled well beyond this facet, but has shown to change the way that we interact with our fellow men and women and the way that we initiate intimacy, relationships, and love.